My name is Oyemami, and this summer I worked as a machine learning intern here at Anote. And over the course of the summer, I worked on three main deliverables, which were the Slackbot product, a research paper, and four go to market proposals for Anote. Today, I want to walk you through everything I built, what I found, and where each piece stands. As a machine learning intern at Notes, like I said, I worked on different deliverables. One of them being the Slackbot product, which is Anote's own Slack narrative AI agent. The second being a research paper under the topic of enterprise bench, which was testing whether tool calling accuracy actually predicts deployment safety. And the third deliverable was the go to market proposals for Anote. And all four proposals have been written and completed and submitted. The research paper is complete, and Anote's Slackbot has its core functions completely working, and we're moving into deployment. Let's start with the go to market proposals. All four proposals, like I said, have been completed, and each of them targeted a very similar pitch, which was showing that Anote isn't just another module vendor, but a trust layer that sits around any module, any labeling, any evaluation, and governance works that makes AI safe to actually deploy. The first proposal, one of the proposals I worked on was the AI CVIR Phase 1 proposal, which was responsive to the Army's AI and machine learning focused open topic. And it was built around a human in the loop data curation and evaluation pipeline for LLM and RAG systems. Another proposal I worked on was the Geospatial Research Laboratory CSO proposal, which was covering remote sensing and mapping and GRL needed AI and machine learning classification across electro optical, FLIR, radar, and LIDAR sensor data for their terrain characterization. The other proposal I worked on was the SAM.gov proposal for the Air Force, and that was under shared infrastructure, standardized tooling, governance frameworks, and managed systems. And we mapped a proposal for every one of those capabilities and related it to every work Anode has done in the past as well. The other proposal I worked on was the DevCon ARL white paper, and that was, I believe, the most recent one, and that had to do with algorithm evaluation and constrained environment deployment. The next deliverable I worked on during this internship experience was my research paper, and that was enterprise branch, covering if synthetic tool calling benchmarks depict predict deployment trustworthiness. Enterprise Bench asked one question: do synthetic tool calling benchmarks predict deployment trustworthiness? And in plain terms, that means if an AI agent is good at calling the right tool or function, and does that actually mean it is safe to put in front of real users and real company policy? Yes, it might do exactly what you asked it to do, but does it follow every single policy that we just assume it does, right? And I measured this using five different dimension scores, which were the policy violation rate, the multi-turn consistency, composite score, forced completion rate, and audit trail reconstructability. Being upfront about the status split, because being honest about what is measured versus what is still pending in itself is part of the paper's design. And on top of all this, I built a bootstrap confidence interval at the 95% level with 1,000 resamples into the evaluation pipeline. So every result came with real statistical grounding, not just a single number. I ran two agents against a system task policy annotated suit, and the first was a deterministic reference agent that was synthetically perfect by construction, meaning it always calls the right tool, and that agent still violated any applicable policy on 15% of tasks. The other agent that I ran was the live chat GPT for O Mini, and that was run on the same suit, which scored a comparable 56% violation rate. The 95% confidence interval for those two numbers overlaps substantially, which tells us the real effect, not noise. And it wasn't just random calculations, but both agents followed common scale, and where they consistently broke down was on company specific rules, like things like internal IT permission limits, that were never stated outright, but any real deployment would expect the agents to respect. The key takeaway was that success and deployment safety are different axes. Being right about the to call is not the same as being safe to deploy. And that's a core finding, and it is the same argument that runs underneath every one of the four federal proposals that I also wrote as well. The paper is complete, it's been posted to open review, and it's currently being posted to ArcSiv. That's currently pending, but it's completely available to view on open review as well. The next deliverable I worked on during this internship, which was my favorite to work on actually, was the Slackbot product. Slackbot is Anote's own Slackbot is Anote's own Slack narrative AI agent, and it matters because it's not just like a mock-up, it's a working demonstration of some archetype we pitched in the past as well. Slack narrative had interface runs directly inside the Slack channels, and DMs. So if you are creating a message and you have something that involves a document, it will prompt if you want to connect it to your Google Drives, or if you need like details from past messages, and it will reference that as well. It has a multi-step task execution, meaning it completes multi-step agentic workflows, not just a single turn question and answer. And the same, not just a single turn question and answer. And then it also source to retrieval or RAG, and it looks up answers, like I said, from past information and cites its sources rather than just answering from like memory alone. And lastly, based off like Anote's core principles, it has that human in the loop approval. So it asks for human sign off before taking any consequential action. And it makes sure the user is aware of everything on the background. Like I've said before, the full proposals have been completed and submitted. The enterprise bench paper has been completed and submitted to the necessary pages. And Slackbot also has its core functions complete as well, with deployment currently being done as well. So that's everything I worked on. That's where everything stands. And it was an amazing experience getting to work with Anote and learning so much about artificial intelligence and writing these proposals and just being able to express all the work, all the amazing work that Anote has done.